Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome again to another live this morning on this Labor Day. Hope you're having a great weekend. And so, okay, Jen, good morning to you. Hope you're well. First one up on the hit parade this morning. June, good morning. Rosa, good morning. Mike. We'll see how many people slept in this morning. Andrea, good morning. Niagara Falls. Tina, nice to have you on. Rosalinda, Niagara Falls. Nick from our staff. Regina. And Wendy from Markham. Bernice, Newfoundland. Debbie, good morning. Pretty good crowd for weekend still going on. Kevin, Zian, and Jean, bonjour. Yolande, how are you? Kathy, Rita, New Brunswick. Jeanette from Hearst, Ontario. Tina. And Fran from Orangeville, good morning. Alma. And Diane from Thunder Bay. Lisa Marie. And Brenda, Campbell River, British Columbia. Cleveland, Tennessee. Cleveland, there's a Cleveland in Tennessee. Shirley, Georgie, Barbara. Carolyn, good morning. Deanna LaSalle, good morning. Mary, how are you? Nativity. Okay. Jean. And Diane from LaSalle. Wendy. Another Wendy. Lise, good morning. Deb from Detroit, Michigan. Rosemary, Moncton, New Brunswick. Helen, Panama City, Florida. Well, good morning, Florida. Caddy, how are you? Mary, Robin, a couple of more. Wanda, Luella, West Tennessee. So somebody answer me. Is there a Cleveland in Tennessee? Rhonda, Dave, Hazel, good morning. So let's get to these questions this morning. And Micheline, bonjour. Patricia and Jennifer. We appreciate you guys. Judy, Newfoundland, Kathy. Lots on with us. Thanks so much, guys. Here's where I left off, I think. Donna was asking, she says, I have a bone spur on my wrist. What can I do for it? Well, I would do therapy on it. It's like having a bone spur in your heel. Used to see that all the time. And no fun. It can be very painful. If it's not that painful, I like inflammation formula because you want to lower the inflammation. As far as breaking the spur down, you really need to get at it. Manipulation, get at it. And break it down. You can do it yourself because it's on your wrist, or you can get someone to do it for you. And you want to try and break that down manually. And I like inflammation formula because it is really good to, if you've got pain, if you have pain, you have inflammation. Simple as that. You never have pain without inflammation. And so, Donna, that depends. If you're not having pain, then I would work it. And, these kind of things happen. Denise, my hair is green and I don't like it. Well, some people, look, I'm just going to say what often I used to see in the office. Okay? Premature graying, oftentimes, not always, often, is low levels of vitamin D. Okay? The sun. No, it's amazing. Okay? Premature grain. And, it's pretty hard to avoid grain as you get older. But if it's premature, Denise, then check your vitamin D levels. You're asking about using coloring in the hair. And look, there's some natural hair color that's available. Okay? Not as harsh in terms of chemicals. And am I against that stuff? Nah. Whatever tickles your fancy. Okay? So, Nadine, for those without a gallbladder, yeah, the millions, and usually women, use it or lose it. Remember about the gallbladder. The gallbladder is a reservoir. It's a pouch. The gallbladder doesn't make bile. Okay? The gallbladder doesn't make bile. The liver makes bile. So you can live without a gallbladder. But the reason you lose a gallbladder, and it's women mostly, is because they don't use it. And the world went stupid with a fat-free diet. God gave you a gallbladder. Why did he give you a gallbladder? Because he wanted you to eat animal products, eggs, meat, and cheese. Living fat-free is silly. It's silly. It was a lie. It came from the food industry. It came from guys like Dr. Kellogg's. Okay? Eat fat-free. Don't eat bacon and eggs. Have our cereal. And fat-free yogurt and blah, blah, blah. All the stuff that's fat-free, avoid like the plague. Because fat don't make you fat, and fat don't give you cholesterol. Okay? Now, there are bad fats. There are bad fats, and they come in the form of either trans fats or oils that were made for your car and not for your body. Seed oils, canola oil, safflower oil, soy oil. All those oils are bad. Because it gets away from nature. Because you're meant to eat butter, not margarine. It was a big lie. And man, oh man, you got to give the food industry credit. Give them credit in terms of marketing. Because the whole world went silly. They bought the lie. I was screaming like John the Baptist. It ain't true, it ain't true, it ain't true. Why are you worried about cholesterol? Why? If you don't eat cholesterol, your body makes it. 85%. You know my saying, God don't trust you to hold up your end of the bargain. And women, for years, and men to some extent too. But women, salmon and chicken, skinless. I love my salad. Yeah, okay, but that doesn't mean it's the best. I gotta have my oatmeal in the morning. Otherwise, I don't go to the bathroom. Ooh. But really, guys, it was just propaganda. It wasn't true. So the question is asked, okay, so let me get back to the question after my pontification, okay? Nadine is asking, well, what do? I don't have a gallbladder. Well, your liver makes the bile. But here's what I suggest, Nadine. When you don't have a gallbladder, there's a couple of things. One, you need to be on digestive enzymes, okay? that help to break down fat, like lipase. You might not be able to eat the fat that I'm able to eat because you don't have a gallbladder. 2, keep your liver clear, empty, the Costco parking lot, because that's where bile comes from. So if you cut down on sugars, avoid those crappy oils, your liver will work just fine. But I would use digestive enzymes, big time, because of, and with broad spectrum digestive enzymes with lipase, break that fat down, help the body, what you're missing, okay? And here's another point that I would say. Don't eat at night, okay? Don't eat at night. So that, because that gives your body a real rest. If you stop eating, let's say right after supper, don't eat anymore. Allow your body to, you need extra help with digestion when you don't have a gallbladder, okay? And this is what I tell people. If you have stones, stop eating at night. If you have acid reflux, don't eat at night. This thing about snacking all the time is nonsense, guys. Not good for you. Okay? Especially if you don't have a gallbladder. Marcy, Dr. Martin, what causes one to get a crease on their earlobe? Okay, so I don't have one there. Well, look, it can be nothing. I remember reading, this could be a sign that you have heart disease, that you are more susceptible to stroke. I don't know about that. I don't know if that's more of a wives' tale, old wives' tale, than science, okay? So, it can happen. Does it mean you're, if you Google it, it'll tell you perhaps you're more susceptible. Well, look, I don't worry about earlobes. I look at people's blood pressure and I look at their diet. And, that's a better way to look at things. Metabolic syndrome, high blood pressure, slightly elevated blood sugars, belly fat. All those things are much more indication of you're in trouble metabolically than a crease in the earlobe. Okay? And again, I'm not dismissing it completely, but I don't think there's a lot of science behind it. Susanna. Well, good morning, Susanna. Dr. Martin, could you explain why I take 2 magnesium at lunch and 2 at night and I get a tickle in my throat? Well, look, Susanna, okay? And then you say you get it with probiotics too. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, generally, if you're getting some phlegm, tickle in your throat, you got low acidity in your stomach. That's usually what it means, okay? And what I mean by, here's what I mean. Your stomach is the only place you want to be very acidic. Your stomach is a furnace. Your stomach mulches your food. If you take a supplement and you feel like phlegm is coming up, okay, and you say it's magnesium, but people get that. Some people get that. They get lots of phlegm. They make phlegm. That is acid reflux. It could be a silent acid reflux. But what it is, at the end of the day, is your body doesn't make enough acidity in the stomach. And usually, remember why your stomach is so acidic and a cow's isn't. A cow has 4 stomachs, but doesn't have the acid that you have. A human being has very, 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 or should have, very, very acidity, a stomach very acidic. Between 2.5 on the pH scale. Why is that? Because you're meant to eat meat. And when you don't eat enough meat, you need acidity to break steak down. Okay? And when you don't have enough acidity, here's how you don't get enough. Because you don't use it. Like the gallbladder, your stomach, use it or lose it. You're going to lose your stomach acidity if you insist on being a carboholic. Okay? You don't need a lot of acidity to break down a salad. You don't. That's why cows, they don't worry about the gallbladder, because you don't need a gallbladder when you're eating salad. And you don't need high acidity in the stomach. But you need it. And when people eat too much sugar and not enough red meat, especially, their pH changes in their stomach. Use it or lose it. Okay? Very good question, Susanna. I'm going to run out of, I forgot to charge up my iPad here. So I'm down to, what causes leg sciatica and to get sciatica? Okay, let me turn this off for a second. Okay, what causes sciatica? A pinch. Now that pinching can be in two places. One, in your spine. Okay, sciatica can be, the pinching can be in your spine. Here's another place, and I think okay, now I'm going to be in trouble because I cannot read my questions because, I forgot to charge my iPad. Now, sciatica, okay, sciatica can be from two places. The spine, or one of the places very common is the piriformis muscle. Now the piriformis, okay, the piriformis is a muscle that is right in your butt. Go down the middle of your butt, okay, and there's a muscle that crosses your buttocks from one side, not both. It's called the piriformis. When that thing goes into a spasm, it often does, too much sitting, you can sprain and hurt the piriformis muscles, and that piriformis can pinch your sciatic nerve. And that can be a big pain in the butt and going down the leg too. Okay? A lot of people don't realize that. It's not really their back. Now, one of the things, get a ball, a softball, it's not that soft, tennis ball, maybe not quite hard enough, and find the spot to relieve it. Get some therapy. People know what they're doing to release that. But again, could be from the spine. Could be a pinched nerve, L5, L4 in that lower lumbar spine, and that can cause you big trouble. Or it can be the piriformis. I like our inflammation formula again. It can be very effective to take away pain, but you want to fix it. You want to fix it. Okay? Now, I got a couple of questions that I actually wrote down because I'm mad at myself now. Let me see. I might be able to do this on my computer here. I am going to check and see if this came up on my... and let me answer a question from Deed before. Let me just see here. Questions. Hold on. I might be all right. Okay. I got it on my Regina was asking that question. I do have it. Oh, I tell you, I was so upset with myself. Okay, and Susanna, we answered your question. Regina, Marilyn, before I get to D, well, let me do deeds because this wasn't in our question, but I saw it this weekend. What vitamin is good for a tired 12-year-old? Well, listen, if a young lady is tired, okay, now I got a lot of questions I would ask. Did she start her menses yet? 12 years old? Hey, I've seen it at 8 years old. Poor kids. Okay? Young girls already started. And their hormones. And a lot of young girls today, I can tell you from personal experience, are very anemic, or they're borderline anemic. Because they don't eat any meat, and they're junk eaters. Okay? Not normal for a 12-year-old. Look, you're tired. Yeah, get up in the morning, kids are tired. Right? So not, you know, Dr. Mom, you know, it's not normal. Usually they ain't eating enough meat. And they're not getting enough B12. So for energy, I would give them a B12. Make sure it's sublingual. And let it melt in the mouth and get their B12 up, because I can just about guarantee you that they have low levels of B12. They may be fighting anemia in a sense. It could be some iron deficiency too. Make you tired. And all I would say to you, hold on now, Marilyn. No, wait a minute. Who was asking that question? Come on. Oh, Deed. Sorry, Deed. Look at your daughter. Be Dr. Mom. Is she pale? Yeah, probably borderline anemic. Circles under the eyes, dark circles under the eyes, borderline anemic. Now, blood work might not show it so much, but probably low in B12, and they're probably borderline. I used to see that in the office all the time. Joanne, osteoarthritis is getting worse for her husband. Well, listen, I looked at Joanne, how much inflammation formula, you know, it seems to be a recurring question here. More inflammation formula, go up. Do like the bottle says on it, okay? Especially if you got a lot of pain. Do a high dose of it. I like at least 8 a day for about a week. Let the stuff, especially with high pain, to get at it, okay? That's what I like. If you can convince your husband, Joanne, to do the reset, you have no idea when you cut out sugars out of the diet, how that helps pain. It lowers inflammation markers. It really does make a difference. And thousands of people have found that out. It's one of the benefits they found. Oh, I didn't realize, you know, like I did the reset for other reasons. And you know what? I found my pain was much, much better. That is so common. It's unreal, Joanne. Okay? Now, and Marilyn asking a good question. My sister has different blood pressure in her right arm from her left. The right is higher and wondering why. Well, weird. Marilyn. People don't like when I say that. Your sister's weird. No, listen. It happens. It happens. Now, nothing to worry about if it's less than 10. Okay, what I mean by that, okay, let's say you take your blood pressure and it's 120/80 in your left arm and your right arm is 122/82. Don't matter, happens, it's not significant at all. Now, if on your right arm it was 120/80 and on your left arm Okay, it was 170 over 70, or something really weird different, over 10 points. And then you got to look at a blockage. But listen, I tell you, I used to see that all the time taking blood pressure. Left arm different than the right arm. It can happen. Couple of little numbers in blood pressure don't mean anything. It really doesn't. There's nothing significant about it. So Marilyn, thanks for the question, because it is a good question. Ginny, my 70-year-old husband, 70. I never met anybody that's 70. Oh yeah, I'm 70. He's been a diabetic for 15 years. If he did the reset diet, will his sugars go too low? No. Diabetes, okay? Ginny, diabetes. By the way, you have a young husband. Diabetes is a food problem. Diabetes is a carb problem. Diabetes is a sugar problem. And when you eliminate it, because that's what it is. If you're a diabetic, simple as that. You have an allergy to carbohydrates. Will your sugars go too low? You got to monitor that. But if you're eating right, you're eating steak, you're eating eggs, you're eating cheese, you're eating protein and fat, and eliminating the carbs and sugars, you're just doing yourself a big favor. So I'm not too worried about your sugars going too low. Look, if, for example, your husband's on a Janimet, right? And those medications, by the way, were never meant to be long-term. They don't work long-term. And I never tell a patient ever to get off medication. I don't do that. But understand that diabetes is a food problem. It's a food problem. There may be genetics. Like I got a lot of genetics for diabetes in my family. Lots of it. But that don't make me a diabetic, because the only way you're going to become a diabetic is when you're a carbaholic. My name is Tony, and I'm a carbaholic. Okay? That's what it is. No exceptions unless it's type 1 diabetes, which is autoimmune. The pancreas is not working. That's different. Type 2 diabetes, adult onset diabetes, happening in children, by the way, is a food problem 100%. When you make the wrong choices, you're in trouble. And your husband and sugar don't get along, and your husband and carbs don't get along anymore. Bad relationship. And diabetes never ends well. Never. You never be happy when you're a diabetic. Never. Medication or not. The point is, it never ends well. You have to manage it. You can put it into remission. You're never cured. Are you somebody that's an addict is not cured of addiction. They are in remission from an addiction. But when you learn to eat the right way, and this is where reset comes in, because the reset was created for diabetics. Originally, it was created for diabetics. Remember, in my practice, I was sort of in nutrition a diabetic specialist. Tens of thousands over the years. And I found out that if they do a 30-day reset, they prosper. See people all the time. Former patients. Doc, you saved my life. Well, you saved your life. You did it. I didn't do it. I couldn't go home with you and change your diet. You saved your life. Yep, you saved it. I just told you what to do. Okay. Thank God for my desktop here. Okay. Rita. Can thinning hair due to hypothyroidism, even though on medication for 30 years, ever get full again? Well, Rita, I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen. Regrowing hair. Now, not easy, okay? It's not easy. But I've seen it happen. Two things need to happen for hair. Remember what hair is, okay? If you analyze hair, what is hair? It's protein. Hair is protein. And when you don't eat enough, and let me say this too, Rita. Animal protein is the best protein in the world. Why is that? Because of its bioavailability. You cannot be healthy when you avoid animal protein. Doesn't mean you're going to croak. Doesn't mean you'll die right away, but it's not the best thing for you. I'm telling you. I know there are proteins in the plant kingdom. I know that. But they are not bioavailable, meaning your body does not take that in the same way as it takes in animal protein. And one of the reasons that hair in a woman, not men, okay? And men, we're from another planet. Men lose their hair. But women's not normal at all. Now, alopecia, whatever, could be autoimmune. I've seen a lot of that. I've seen a lot of leaky gut. I've seen a lot of autoimmune disorders. I've seen women with, like Rita was saying, hypothyroid, but not thyroid, which is your gas pedal, which is your metabolism, is not working properly. And so many people, their thyroid is not up to snuff. Now, again, have to understand, there's a lot of things can happen. The hypothyroidism, one of the biggest driving factors of that is estrogen dominance, too much estrogen. You better get that estrogen down. 2, one of the biggest factors in slowing the thyroid down because of the conversion of T4 to T3 is stress. So, Rita, there's a lot of factors. Diet, make sure. Protein, 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 protein. Animal protein, animal protein, animal protein. You can't beat it. And for those who don't eat enough of it, bone broth. Okay? Bone broth. Fantastic. For your hair. You know how many women came to me and they were taking bone broth, and I sent them away, told them to take bone broth, and then their hairdresser would have a little message for me. I'm not kidding you. Ask Jeanette, ask Nicole, we heard it lots. What did Dr. Martin give you for your hair? Bone broth. Hair formula. I used to do that for women. Women! Your hair is your glory. Who wants to lose hair? But remember the factors that I just talked to you about, okay? That's really important, Rita, okay? That's really important. Thank you very much for that again. Ruth, what can be done for bedwetting? Send your child to a chiropractor. That's what I suggest. Gertie, useful tips to increase progesterone and equalize estrogen over 50. Look, stop the polyps and look. Gertie, estrogen dominance. Okay, remember, let me just give you the overarching principle here. In a woman, unlike a man, okay, in a woman, unlike a man, what complicates the universe for women are ovaries. They're beautiful. Okay? Women, you're beautiful. But you're complicated. Okay? And I always tell women, there are 3 major events in a woman's life hormonally. The first time they menstruate, having a baby, and menopause. Okay? And I always talk about menopause as being you're coming in for a landing. Pretend you're in an airplane. You're coming in for a landing and you're hitting turbulence. Some women, they come into menopause and it's smooth sailing. They land and nothing and they're good and they just stop having a period. Their hormones are good. They don't get hot flashes and they don't gain weight and they don't lose their hair and blah, yada, yada, yada. It's smooth landing, but a lot of women. And I made my living with women. Diabetes, men, women too. And hormones, women. I made a living because I understood it. Okay? I understood. And whether you get a young girl or you get a woman has a baby and they gain 50 pounds. Doc, I haven't changed a thing. I didn't change eating or whatever. What happened? Well, you got out of balance. Your estrogen took off. You had a baby, you left all your progesterone in the placenta, okay? You left all your progesterone in the placenta and your body didn't catch up to its estrogen. You became too much of a woman. Progesterone, pro-baby, that's what it means. But progesterone is really important in a woman because they need balance. They need to have as much progesterone as they have estrogen. And when you get estrogen dominance, even though, look, I'm 50 years old, what do you mean I'm estrogen dominant? My doctor wants to give me estrogen. No, don't let him do that. Don't let her do that. You don't need estrogen. You need balance. You need balance. Okay? It's an imbalance. That's what happens. And it can mess up your thyroid. Estrogen dominance can mess up your thyroid. And it can do a lot of things. Hot flashes. You don't feel good. Not as much energy. You gain weight. Blah, blah, blah. All this kind of thing. Okay? Now, useful tips is I would tell you, Gertie, okay, because I had to deal with this in my clinic all the time. Eat well. Food is you need the basis of food. Good food. Okay? Eggs, meat, and cheese. 2, balance your hormones. Dim it out. You want to dim that estrogen out. Doc, like I said, no, listen to me. You want to balance. The menopausal formula will up your progesterone. The hormonal formula will lower your estrogen. It will dim it out. It will take that dangerous estrogen because, listen, estrogen is a growth hormone. It makes you a woman. The problem is, it makes things grow. Tumors, ovaries, polycystic ovarian disorder, PCOS, insulin, and estrogen. Cysts, estrogen, breast, estrogen, men, prostate, estrogen, not enough testosterone. Okay? So for women, sometimes they need to do both. Take the menopausal, up your progesterone, and lower your estrogen. I never, never, ever want women to elevate their estrogen. You do not need to elevate your estrogen, ever. There's so much xenoestrogens in the world, our environment. We live in a world that is full of estrogen and mimicking estrogen, what we call xenoestrogens, okay? So remember that, okay? Now, last question. Gail, how and why does a blood vessel in your eye burst? Well, two things that look. If you get that recurring, you got to check, make sure your blood pressure, sometimes blood pressure can be elevated and it's silent. You don't even know it, okay? And I'm big on watching blood pressure, I am. Now, don't do it 20 times a day. People that come in, I remember they had a book, and every 5 minutes they were taking their blood pressure, and they said, do you want to read this, doc? No. Well, 8 o'clock it was this, 8:15 it was this, 8:30 it was this, 8:45 it was this. I said, well, just stop. You're elevating your blood pressure because you're stressed looking at your blood pressure. Why are you taking your blood pressure 75 times a day? Don't do that. I'm not interested. I am interested if you have high blood pressure, for sure. Okay? I am. It's not that I'm not interested. But don't take it all the time. You're stressing yourself out, and that'll elevate your blood pressure. What do you think cortisol does? Seriously, I used to see it all the time. Well, my doctor told me to monitor my blood pressure. Well, did he tell you to do it every 5 minutes? You're stressing me out. My blood pressure just went up. Okay. Gail, I'm just fooling around. Now, as far as the eye, two things, okay? Like I said, watch for your blood pressure. And a lot of times you get bursting because those blood vessels, remember, when you look in behind an eye, you see a myriad of blood vessels. Your eye, it's circulation, okay? If you're bursting that, a lot of times your blood vessels are not strong. You want those walls of your blood vessels to be supple, elastic. And if it's getting hard, those can be things that'll burst your blood vessels. And it could be high blood pressure, but it could also be you're forming some plaque in there. And they lose its elasticity, okay? Cut out the sugars and get on high DHA. That is so good for your eyes. Because even dry eyes. What is dry eyes? It's blood vessels. It's circulation. And I'm big on DHA. DHA for your eyes, DHA for your brain, DHA for your heart. I'm big on DHA because that's the way your eyeballs are made up of DHA. Did you know that? Good fact. Okay? Good fact. Okay. Thanks so much, Gail, for the questions. Oh, that was fun. Okay? That was fun. Okay. I enjoy you guys so much. You have no idea. Okay? And we got a good week lined up. Okay? We do. Should be fun. Okay? Any questions? Hey, get ready. Get ready. Because this Friday is question and answer. You guys have a great day. We love you dearly. Talk to you soon.